Hi, I'm Simon and I'm going to talk you through the Sheaf Valley cycle route. We've started here on Abbey Lane near Sheaf Abbey. This isn't part of the overall route, but because there's a nice little cycle path and shared use path we can use through Cliff Woods, I thought I'd take you up here. Behind you, past Sheaf Abbey, there's a bridle way that will take you up to Grendel and Holmesfield. So we're going down Abbey Lane. You have to be a bit careful going through those islands because you don't want to get squeezed by motor vehicles passing you just like that one did, although they gave me a wide berth as it happens. Further up Abbey Lane there are service roads on the side of the road you can use to keep you away from the traffic, but in this bit closer down, further down near to the railway bridge, you're a bit squeezed there really, so just take it easy. We'll be coming up soon to the right, so if you're taking the on-road methods seriously, you'll move out to the right hand side of the road, signalling clearly your intentions. Coming up to where you can get off the road. I came off a little bit early here. By the way, this film was taken during the coronavirus, the lockdown period, obviously keeping well clear of other people, so there's less traffic around, although as you can see there are quite a lot of cyclists around as well. So coming up to the entrance to the bridle way just by the railway bridge there, coming up here, don't run into the bollard there, and coming up, first bit has got a nice little bit of tarmac, but then you get onto a fairly hard surface. This surface is all right in most weather, but obviously in the bleak midwinter, if you're on your road bike, you may wish to avoid it. Just past some very nice people who gave me a little clap because they thought I was a friend of theirs, but they still thought I was doing well anyway. Okay, now we'll just sit back and relax and enjoy the woods for a little while. It took me about 20 minutes to complete this route, so even if you were quite a slow cyclist, I think you could probably manage it in about half an hour, although obviously again with the lack of traffic, it was possible to move along quite quickly on a normal day with the normal amounts of traffic that you get in a place like Sheffield. It might take you a bit longer. Some ups and downs on this route, but it's generally pretty flat. Obviously I've got to watch out for people coming the other way, give them plenty of room. Always give way to pedestrians on a route like this. You might just be able to hear my bell at that point, which is giving people a chance to just move over a bit as I come past. There was a nice downhill stretch here. I was obviously ready to slow right down if I needed to, but when you've got a nice little downhill, you want to try and keep a reasonable speed up, not a stupidly fast speed. Always cover the brakes when you're near people. There you go. Be sure you can stop in good time. I had a nice sunny evening for this particular ride, as you can see. I also had a bit of wind behind me, so I was making quite good time. Going to come out on Hutcliffe Wood Road in a little bit here. There are no real measures to protect cyclists on this road, so if you're not a confident road cyclist, you'll want to take it easy. And we'll pick up the actual cycle route a little bit further along. If you haven't got a bell on your bike, you can always try giving a little whistle. And of course there's nothing wrong with saying, hello, bike behind. Just interact with people around you. Watch out for dogs, of course. Yeah, and on that last little bit, just make sure you take that right fork, otherwise you'll find yourself on a rather bumpy footpath and you'll probably come to a halt. A little bit of tarmac to make the transition to the road. No traffic today, so off we go. Nice little downhill when you've got it to yourself, and then there's quite a tricky junction, triangular junction, so traffic can be coming from more than one direction, just bear that in mind. Again, nice clear day today. On your left there's the entrance to Sainsbury's supermarket. There's some cycle parking just on the other side of the bridge as you come up. And now in a minute we're going to have a route choice. You can stay on Archer Road, or you can take an off-road route which leads out from Sainsbury's car park. Today I'm going to take that off-road route. Again, watch out for these traffic islands, make sure there's no one coming up who might squeeze past you there. Okay, giving a signal, down we go. The pavement on the left is shared use, so you can use that instead if you don't like the look of that junction. We're going to go around this little mini roundabout and round to the right. And here with the new development on the left that you can see there, they've put in a little cycle scheme, so we're going to use that. Means you don't have to go over the speed bumps, that's one thing, but you do have to cross the road here. Just take a look around, make sure there's no one coming up. Use your ears as well as your eyes. Okay, going straight through. At the moment this is nice and clear. That isn't always the case. We're hoping with the new development you can see on the right there, we will get some better maintenance along this little bit of route. It's not actually a right of way, it's privately owned, but that shouldn't really be a problem. In the last bit there's a barrier coming up on the right. Keep clear of that, and then when you get to the end of that you can cross over and take to the shared use path on the other side of the road. You can of course also just use the road at this point, that's your choice. I'm using the shared use path because I want to go up to the traffic lights and use the safe crossing a bit further up. So we're on Archer Road, we've come off Archer Drive, we're on Archer Road, going slowly because there's pedestrians around. If you are on the road, there's a little slip on the left, you can see where people are standing, you can use that. Getting up to the crossing. If you've come down Archer Road itself, you can see ahead of us there's a little cycle slip with a right turn arrow there. There's actually a cycle detector plate underneath that. So if you come along Archer Road and stop there, it should detect you and change the lights for you. It takes a little time for that to happen, but it does work. If it's not working, of course, it should be reported to the council. Okay, crossing over, we're going to take the left and we're going to head down Ulverston Road just by the small beer off licence there. That's a real ale off licence, you can buy draft beer in there. Although if you are transporting draft beer home on your bike, take it easy because it does froth up a bit. When you take that top off, make sure you've got a cloth ready. Coming down to the bottom here, we're going to turn left onto Woodseats Road. This can be quite a busy road, you can see even at the moment there's a few cars on it. So again, have your wits about you. Taking the left, and then again just before the railway bridge there is a little cycle slip. Opinions are divided about whether these are really useful, but it means you just get a little bit of space to yourself as you make that right turn. Coming onto Little London Road now, which could be a very nice cycle route, but there's just a bit too much traffic on it at the moment. Coming up is the railway bridge we're going to go under, which would be the ideal place to actually close this road and make it a more cycle friendly route. Just keep an eye out for pedestrians coming through, especially if it's dark. It's a bit of a disgrace that there's no pavement through here. Again, if it was closed to motor traffic you could do a lot more with it. Notice the River Sheaf on your left. It would also be nice to have a route along the River Sheaf, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen with the new housing we just passed. I can't see a route through there. Further along on the left is the cycle route to nowhere, where they built a little new park with the office development, and they put a cycle route in, presumably as part of the Sheaf Valley route they were planning, but it just goes along about 100 yards and then stops. It's the sort of thing that makes Sheffield a bit of a laughing stock, unfortunately. Coming up just past the Hardy Pick, we're going to throw a right, so again you need to be a bit further out in the road, make sure there's nothing behind you. And in we go to this little cycle gate here. This scheme I think works reasonably well, although a few orcas or some sort of barrier between us and the traffic wouldn't hurt. Quite a lot of pedestrian traffic around this area, people walking across from Chesterfield Road to Abbeydale Road. Nice little bit of off-road path by the railway embankment. See, I've been able to put speed up there a bit, but again, there often are pedestrians, and do watch out for people coming out through the bushes onto the path. Now we're going to come out onto Saxon Road. That's a one-way with a cycle lane. Here we go. We're just at the confluence of the River Sheaf and the Mearsbrook at that point, so there's some interesting waterworks and such like around there. It's all been culverted, obviously, when the railway was built. It's the Wharf Safety Lamp Company on your left. So coming up to Broadfield Road, usually quite a lot of traffic here, take care. We're heading for that little cycle path, pedestrian path. Unfortunately there's this bit of the building that sticks out in it, so it gets a bit narrow. Another road to cross. That's one of the disadvantages of this kind of quiet street route, that you do have to cross a lot of roads. You don't have right of way, so you do find yourself having to slow down and maybe stop. next road, I think it's Worcester Home Road, this can be very busy. You see the mosque down there. Obviously if there's an event on at the mosque, particularly on Fridays, you'll find there's a lot of traffic around there. But never mind, we can take a right here. We have a cycle gate at the end of the road. Hopefully it's clear. If you do find cars parked in there, they shouldn't be there, so do report them please. Today we're okay. And then you can take a left onto the pavement here for the crossing. On this particular day I could have just gone straight across, but I thought, being as I was making this video, I would wait for the light. That turned out to be a bit of a mistake because the lights weren't working properly. So although the red light came on, the lights didn't change, and after a little while the light stopped. So eventually I twigged that and pressed the button again and just went. I think I caused a bit of amusement amongst nearby pedestrians though by just standing there waiting. Well, I think we've waited long enough, don't you? Yeah. Okay, we're coming on to Asline Road now. Make your way past the various road signs and on over to the left so you're clear of the pedestrians. You mix to your right, and J.E. James Cycles is just at the top of this road. We used to have problems with coaching parking on this road on match days, but it seems to have got a bit better these days. So we're going to take the right and go through this nice little park here. Coming up, there's a crossing of a busy road. There's some railings here you have to get round. They're intended to slow people down, make sure they don't just career onto the road. Some people may say that's a little bit too nanny state, but hey. So then we're coming down to the next crossing. A lot of crossings have a 60-second delay on them before pedestrians cross. Here there's a bit of a sharp turn out back onto the road. Just have a look behind, make sure there's no traffic coming up behind you. And now you're on Shoreham Street, which is quite a long straight road. Generally not a lot of traffic on it, so it's quite good for a bike route. Further down it gets a bit busy when there's a couple of roundabouts and the buses start coming in. In a minute we're going to reach the end of this section of the video, so I shall continue on the next video.